Hey guys, my name is Nick. I'm 17 and I want to tell you an incredible story that completely changed my life. I think it's safe to say I've never been the brightest guy, I've never been a top student or what they call street smart. I didn't even have any extraordinary talents in sports or art. I've gotten used to being a disappointment for my parents and never really had any high expectations for my life. I have only ever been good at one thing, and one thing only: roofing. Finding some cool and preferably abandoned houses, getting up on the top, standing on the edge, or even performing some simple tricks. That's my thing. It's something that makes me feel alive and like I can barely breathe at the same time. Well, it used to. I've kinda retired as a roofer now. Why? Well, that's what I'm about to tell you. It was late July and I still had about a month of vacation ahead of me. I had no one watching me 24/7 and didn't have anything better to do than to go roofing. So, one night, I decided to climb on the rooftop of an abandoned factory in the suburbs. I had heard that the guards were really sloppy there and that you can see the whole city from the top, so I was pretty excited. I easily got inside and started exploring the factory, trying to find a way to the roof. After a while, I found the fire escape and started climbing up. That's when I heard a loud sound of a metal gate opening. I was surprised. Who would open the gates at an abandoned factory, and why? I rushed upstairs, just in time to hide behind the canopy. From there, I could clearly see the courtyard while still remaining hidden. I saw a big, old truck drive in the middle of the yard. It stopped and a man wearing a black mask got out of it. He carefully looked around, opened the back door of the truck, and gave a signal to someone else. Too scared to believe my own eyes, I watched how two other men in matching masks, armed with guns, led some poor guy in a suit out of the truck. They quickly led him across the yard and pushed him into the factory building. I managed to see that his hands were tied behind his back and there was a gag in his mouth. I exhaled, trying to calm down. It was crystal clear what was going on. That guy was being kidnapped, and I was the only witness. I was shaking, unsure of what I should do. Should I call the police? That seemed like an obvious choice, but roofing isn't legal, you know, so how would I explain my being here in the first place? Should I check what was going on down there and try to save the guy by myself? But what could I do against 3 armed men? Should I just get the hell out of there? It's not like I owed this guy anything. Maybe he was a bad person. In the end, I decided to call 911, even though I knew I might get in trouble for it. It was still the right thing to do. After I finished my call, I planned on waiting for the police, but it was unbearable sitting there not knowing what was going on, so I made my way down. I was very careful and tried not to make a sound. As I was passing the second floor windows, I saw them again. The kidnapped guy was tied to a chair while the men in masks were beating him up. I froze on the spot, unwillingly thinking that I might become a witness to a murder now. I didn't have much time, so I improvised. I looked around, searching for something. I noticed that the metal edge of pipe was hanging by a thread. I pulled it and easily ripped it off. Then, and this was not easy since I was still balancing on a fire escape, I threw it across the yard right onto the glass window of the first floor. The window loudly shattered into pieces, attracting the men's attention. They left the poor guy alone and rushed towards the sound. I kept really quiet, trying to remain hidden, but one of them looked up and noticed me. He looked me straight in the eyes, and the blood in my veins froze as he called for the other two and pointed at me. I swear, at that moment, I thought I was finished. The criminals were heading towards me. When we heard the sirens in the distance, they froze for a second before running to their truck. They got in and started it. I exhaled, thinking that I was off the hook, when the first man that noticed me stretched out of the car and led his thumb over his throat. I gulped, knowing exactly what that meant. We kept staring at each other until they drove off just in time before the police got there. That guy turned out to be a successful businessman. He didn't know his kidnappers nor what they wanted, at least that was his official statement, but he knew he owed me his life. So, as a personal thank you, he sorted out the problems I may have had with the law for roofing and offered to pay for me to go to the police academy. For the first time in my life, someone saw potential in me, and I took this opportunity seriously. I'm so excited about my future now, even though it means I need to quit roofing. As a future police cadet, I have to keep my record clean and respect the law. Plus, I'm kinda scared to wander around all by myself now. You see, the police still didn't manage to catch those kidnappers, those guys who'd seen my face and directly threatened me before escaping the crime scene. And even though they haven't shown up on my doorstep yet, I still don't feel very safe. But who knows? Maybe when our roads cross again, I won't just be a scared teenager. Maybe I'll be the one threatening them, not the other way around.